Falcom's live band recently played at Tokyo Game Show, as they do every year. I normally don't pay attention to JDK Band because they're wholly distinct from Sound Team JDK, and those are the people that write the music for Falcom's games. So I went into this with low expectations because JDK Band hasn't performed very well ever since Falcom took over sponsorship duty in, I think it was 2015. But I figured, with music, performers get better with time. I thought maybe these guys matured into something great. And I'm going to try to be as nice as I possibly can about this, but JDK Band's live performance is, unfortunately, still rough. For any team, it doesn't matter if they're a band or if they're a group of office workers. When something goes wrong, you point your fingers at the manager for poor direction. A leader needs to lead, and if he sees something wrong, he addresses it. That means utilizing the strengths of each team member in a harmonious way. Some players don't excel at some genres, and certain instruments don't fit certain songs. As a band leader, you need to recognize where each player is at and leverage their strengths accordingly. All this is to say that when you hear this, you need to realize that something is very wrong, either with the performer, the material she's given, or possibly both. This instrument is called an EWI, electronic wind instrument. It's basically a MIDI controller, and when in the hands of a skilled musician, it sounds like this. This is Masato Honda of T-Square. Awesome guy, I love all of his work. This is ADD, who not only performs live with JDK Band, Singa handpicked her to play on his in-game compositions as well. Here's a sample of her work. That's not too bad, but then she worked on an arrange album that wasn't produced by Singa, and if you listen to something like this, you'll start to question her performance. My point is this: whoever the current band director is, be it Singa or maybe someone else, he needs to understand that playing in a studio and playing live are two very different situations. In a studio, you can perform multiple takes, pitch correct in your DAW, and so forth. When you're playing live, you need to be good. There are no retakes or corrections, it's just a pure representation of your skill. So even though ADD is alright in a studio, sometimes, this performance is not up to par. It's also way too quiet, which is something that you think would be addressed during a sound check, which leads me to believe that there either wasn't a sound check, or the sound engineer thought this was acceptable. And the arrangement of older songs during this show is just so bizarre. Here's The Fate of the Fairies from Trails SC. And here's that same section during this live show. It's such a strange choice to use the EWI for this part. This is ostensibly a rock band lineup, so I honestly don't know why there's a sax player here at all. Her sound doesn't fit most of these songs. There isn't anything she's playing that wouldn't sound better on a keyboard. Of course I say that, but the keyboardist is also extremely rough. This is Gakia 2, another friend of Singa's who co-arranged the opening of Kai no Kiseki. And if you haven't heard that one, here's a taste. In fact, that song was performed by these same members of JDK Band. I'm giving Singa credit for this live show, but honestly, it could be Gakia too. I'm not sure if there's a way of finding out, so I'm giving the honor to Singa since he's the last known band leader. Gakia too, to be blunt, is not a strong player or arranger. Again, in a studio he's okay at times, but playing live is not the same. I'm not even sure if his keyboard is turned on half the time. It looks like he's just messing around in the background because I can't hear it at all. But by far the weakest performer here is the violinist, Kazuhiro Tanizaki. It's very difficult to enjoy this concert because his strings are so sharp and grating. So I want to show you something. Here's a Singa track from Daybreak. And here's that same section in this live show. In this live arrangement, the keyboard part was handed to the violinist and the violin part to the guitarist. Why? You've got a keyboardist in the background flailing around, so why not use him? The blend of guitar with violin sounds so discordant in this arrangement. Now, I want to show you an Okajima track from Cold Steel. Okajima is a drummer that used to play with JDK Band, and he composed a few songs for Falcom's games. Here's the in-game version. And here's a live show from 2013. Notice how similar they sound. That's because the violinist and drummer for the in-game version are the same live performers. That's Okajima on drums, and that's Mizutani on violin. Her violin sounds miles better than Tanizaki's. What I'm trying to show here is that, before Singa took over, the musicians that performed live arrangements of their in-game work showed that same level of skill in a live setting. With Singa, it sounds worse live, even when he's using the same musicians he uses for the games. The arrangements are poor, and so are the musicians. The guitarist, Sakura Yoshida, is easily the strongest member of this lineup. Good tone, clean playing, nothing too fancy, but she's good. Singa probably picked her up from watching her guitar covers on YouTube. She's a metalhead and does a nice job at covering some tricky Glenn Tipton solos from Judas Priest. That takes some serious skill, cause Tipton is a monster on the guitar. But when she's playing with this band, she's not showing what she's really capable of. Here's a clip from the show. And here she is playing with a different band. She's in her element much better when she's playing anything that doesn't involve JDK Band. Then you've got the bassist who throws in this slap bass solo into the middle of the performance for no apparent reason. It just sounds so out of place. Does that sound like any Falcom song you know? So that's Falcom's live show from Tokyo Game Show. It feels disappointing to see this once great band reduced to something you'd hear from a high school talent show. Some of these musicians are pretty skilled. It just feels like that skill is wasted here. And some, like the sax and violin players, they've been playing for years. I expect better than this. They can do better. This isn't good enough. Whoever the current director is for Falcom's live band, he needs to do better. I don't know if that entails more rehearsals, if these guys even rehearse at all, better arrangements. He's gotta listen to this performance and realize that it just sounds like noise half the time, not music. And is Falcom listening to this show and thinking this is acceptable? They sponsor JDK Band, meaning they're funding this. Why exactly are you paying for this level of quality? It's such a sorry state for Falcom's live band. I hate pointing fingers at artists, because there's no way you become a musician unless you have passion for music. Every one of these players must really love playing music, and I think that's awesome. I love that Falcom wants to support a live band that plays their music. But let's be critical here. This show is not very good. I hope whoever is responsible for this, be it Singa or maybe someone else, some sound producer at Falcom, who knows. I sincerely hope he makes some changes to improve the state of this band. Otherwise, I'm not sure what the point is in continuing with this group any longer.